and welcome back for round 4 of the November Balance Patch Cup. Yikes. I'm June, joined by the incomparable Keon Sion.
Hello,
And
everybody. Welcome back.
we've got a doozy.
Oh, this one is good. We've got
Like-
the seniors Charlotte Regional Champion of 2023, Zach Weed, now big boy, going against our good buddy Chase Matty.
And Chase is a great player in his own right, too, of course.
course.
But Zach Weed, we're looking at his team first, one of 4 regional champions in the building today. Love to see that. And he is running a kind of an updated version of the things that he's been using for most of the Regulation H format.
Yeah,
A
you
couple of
see-
new techs, but
yeah. There's one of the things that I want to draw the attention to initially is the Assault Vest Ursaluna Blood Moon, notably with a Terra type of water, kind of making you a little bit more vulnerable to something like an opposing Rillaboom, but there's actually a Magmar to redirect a lot of those hits and to also burn those physical attackers, going for Will-O-Wisp instead of what's usually Taunt. We have the Annihilate with Bulk Up. Notably, nothing to really proc that Rage Fist where we've seen with earlier teams. Something like a Mouse Hold, something like maybe that Rillaboom running loaded dice, but instead going for Taunt and Miracle Seed, because that Assault Vest is taken. High Scream Tail. And then a Choice Scarf Basculegion, and the multi-scale loaded dice Dragonite.
yeah, a very classic, very balanced team. The exact things that you're going to expect from Zach Weed, and of course, Taunt on Rillaboom, which he loves, even if he's running the wrong item on it. Miracle Seed instead of the Meadow Plate. But looking over at Chase's team, really the standout on Zach's is 3 Terra Waters. And you're thinking, okay, how does your opponent punish 3 Terra Water Pokemon? And a pretty good answer to that is going to be your own Archaladon with that Electro Shot. That Magmar is going to be very, very important for Zach to redirect any hits from the Archaladon. But outside of that, just fairly standard rain Pokemon. The Basculegion Mirror, one is Scarfed. Chase's, of course, is Choice Band with a Terra Grass instead of being Terra Water. But Incin, Amoonguss, the Pelipper, you have the Terra Stellar for a little bit more damage, and then Tailwind instead of something like Wide Guard, which should be very useful in this matchup, as both of these teams, no Trick Room options, really just going to be vying for faster speed control than their opponent.
Notably, another thing about that Basculegion is on Zach's side, if you want to go for something like that Miracle Seed, Grassy Glide. I've run the calcs myself, and on those no-bulk Basculegions, they just completely fold. But going for something like a defensive Terra type of Grass, not only do you make yourself less variable in the mirror against something like that Amoonguss, something like the Archaladon Electroshot, but you also very comfortably live that Grassy Glide at the very least. But yeah, all things aside, this is pretty much a standard Rain Core. Something that I do like to note here is the double special Steel Mons. Sometimes you see that Gholdengo being something else, some sort of like call slot. It can be a Gholdengo, it can be a Kingambit. We've seen it with like a Population Bomb Wide Lens Mouse Hold. It's one of those 5-mon teams where you can kind of just throw something on there and have pretty good success with it because it's just very tried and true Mons, a good core. That's why we've seen it be so dominant for the 2 months and even beforehand that Regulation H has been prevalent in testing and in practice.
Yeah, and this composition is something that Chase is very, very familiar with. Has only ever gotten championship points without Rain on his team, I believe twice in his VGC career. And this is a player who went to the World Championships last year, and just like Zach is in right now, I believe the top 50 in championship points in North America, so comfortably in that top 75 range to qualify for Worlds again this year. And we are getting to see them live here at round 4, seeing the Annihilate and the Rillaboom on Zach's side, and the Pelipper and Basculegion immediately for Chase.
Yeah, this is such an interesting lead from both sides because there is so much that can be, it becomes a guessing game instantly. As I mentioned before, the terrestrialization on the Basculegion could really turn the tides. That Grassy Glide won't be as much of a kill. But if you read that, you can go for like a fake out into that slot or really anything. But we see Chase going for that turn 1 switch, switching out in favor of the Archaladon, maybe catching a Grassy Glide or even the predictive Fake Out to get that stamina boost instantly in front of these 2 physical attackers.
But Zach Weed, never the one to let his opponent get any inch of breathing room early on in the game. As the Archaladon switches in, doesn't get hit at all, but doesn't get the stamina boosts. Pelipper has its focus sash broken, and really all that happens on that turn 1 is your Annihilate for Zach gets a bulk up. And that might be very, very important for later on in this game, as you're going to need to do a little bit more damage with Annihilate to cover up for those defense boosts that that the Archaludon is definitely going to be getting on Chase's side.
Yeah, I think Zach really did well in identifying that the Basket Legion can kind of do whatever it wants if it decides to move that turn, because you either gain the information of the Terastallization, or if they go for something like a Wave Crash into the Annihilate, that's a lot of chip damage. So Annihilate has high HP, you're going to be taking a lot of recoil. So I think he made a very safe play here, going for the Terastallization. Oh,
that's an unfortunate critical hit on the newly Grass-type Archaludon on Chase's side. Shouldn't have done that much damage without the critical hit, and of course that would hammer more than enough to take care of a Pelipper that presumably doesn't have any defensive investment. Important to know that the Rillaboom is faster than the Pelipper too. Now we get to confirm that.
Not only that, but faster than the Archaludon. We're at that point in the meta where they're starting to go slower and a bit bulkier. As it goes for this Electro Shot into the Annihilate, while it gets that special attack boost, you're only stacking Rage Fist, and you have that Grassy Terrain recovery, and it's just going to continue to heal back up.
Yeah, without that critical hit, Chase is looking a whole lot better after that turn 1. He'll have, about 25% more of his 20 to 25% more of his HP. But now having to bring the Basket Legion back out after committing Terastallization onto the Archaludon, you're stuck in this position where you're just Grassy Glide fodder, and I think that's what Zach went for.
That's what Chase is trying to make the opponent perceive, is that he has no other choice but to keep this in, baiting a Grassy Glide when instead he can just go for the Incineroar Intimidating. But crucially, that Annihilate with the Defiant is just only going to get another boost from that.
And that's where that critical hit really comes into play on the Archaludon, is now that this Annihilate, you're not going to be able to just pick it off here with your own Archaludon for Chase's side because the Annihilate protected. Now it's going to be able to get a 100 base power plus 2 Rage Fist off the next time that it attacks.
The thing that becomes really precarious about this mid-game is that it's kind of like Multiplier City. I mean, you see that the Annihilate itself has this bulk up boost, all of these Rage Fist stacks, all the Intimidate, proccing Defiant, and then on the other side, you have the Archaludon spamming the Electro boost, the Electro Shot boost, and also Stamina in front of these physical attackers. But Zach is way far ahead in the information game. He's gotten Chase to commit a Terastallization. He's gotten him to reveal all 4 of his Pokemon, whereas he can just sit comfortably here with these 2 monkeys.
Yeah, and Zach may be sitting pretty comfortably. Of course, we, as the viewing public, still have to try to figure out how he is deciding his moves, how he's moving around so quickly. But a free KO there with the Drain Punch onto the Incineroar. Chase may be trying to bait, thinking that you wouldn't Drain Punch the Incineroar because Basket Legion could switch into that slot. Rillaboom is faked out, and so you will get an attack off for free with this Archaludon. Can take a KO onto the Annihilate this turn with this Electro Shot. That would be
+3, right?
It's now +3, so unless Annihilate got back to full HP, this should still pick up this KO.
Wow.
Oh, no, it is just very close. We saw the +1 Electro Shot do a little bit over half to this Annihilate, and so +3 being not quite twice as strong as that, you're not going to be able to get that KO. And now, again, your Basket Legion comes out, and there is still, I believe, 1 more turn of Grassy Terrain for this Rillaboom to have a free Grassy Glide right into this Basket Legion.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, there's only so much that can be done here. You can pretty safely get away with clicking the Protect on the Annihilate here, and the Grassy Glide going in, as that Terra has been given up, in most cases, unless there's a bit of a bulk investment in this Basket Legion, this is just going to be a one-hit KO.
Yeah, and you would imagine, at least with the way that Zach's Rillaboom has shown itself so far, going to be very fast, very offensive. We haven't seen it take any hits.
Exactly.
So we have no idea the defensive profile on that Rillaboom, as Annihilate is just going to protect. But the way that he's played it has done very, very well just to limit the options of Chase throughout this entire game. That Rillaboom extremely important to just deal with this Pelipper immediately, as the Grassy Glide... Oh, after the Intimidate, not enough to pick up this KO.
But this, with no Assault Vest, Rillaboom folds to that every single day of the week.
Oh, for sure. And that was something that I had just completely forgotten about, was the Intimidate that had come down earlier in this game. So you are going to be able to get off at least 1 more Aqua Jet with your Basket Legion. You can hope, and it's still as a choice band move. It
Yeah.
should be enough.
Now that the rain is down and you have that +1 defense on the Annihilate, it can definitely become a little bit precarious, but knowing how Basket Legions usually invest in their offenses anyways, and
Yeah, it's
it
still a
could be
choice
close, but
band,
I
same
don't-
type attack, but it should still pick up this KO.
Yeah.
The real issue is, of course, the Dragonite that just switched in that can kind of do whatever it wants to.
Yeah, and with Terastallization still open, Zach opts for it this turn, going to Terastallize that Dragonite to Fairy, maybe dodging something like the Dragon move coming out of the Archaludon in Dragon Pulse.
Yeah, and importantly, too, this Dragonite is multi-scale, so even if Chase does get the Flash Cannon into that slot, as the Annihilate does go down, thankfully for Chase, to that Aqua Jet,
We love doing math here.
even if the Flash Cannon comes out onto this Dragonite, probably won't be enough to pick up the KO because of that multi-scale having the damage, as now it's turned into a 2v1 with this Archaludon still yet to move in front of this now Terra Fairy Dragonite.
Yeah, and if it wasn't any debate before, it definitely isn't now, that the Dragonite is going to be so much faster.
Oh, that's a whole lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And important to note, too, of course, the Dragonite did move before the Archaludon.
Yeah.
Would make a lot of sense for that to be the case.
But now with
as-
that scale shot,
Now that Scale Shot definitely moving first. You really don't want to click any moves with Dragonite into the Archaludon, though. Because you were going to risk giving it the defense boost, Zach did. We just see opt to
Yeah.
lock in Haze this turn.
yeah, you don't want to. Extreme Speed isn't doing you any favors instead of except giving you a stronger body press into that Ursaluna Blood Moon. So going for Haze here is actually very safe to reset all of those boosts and to just get a free Blood Moon off, because with that, body press isn't doing it, and with the Assault Vest, none of these special moves are going to have any chance of knocking out this Ursaluna Blood Moon. So let's see what happens. That body press does half. It probably would have knocked it out had it not.
Oh, that's with the critical hit. That's important to
that
note,
makes
too.
more sense. That Blood Moon coming out, not quite enough.
Yeah, and now you do, again, give the Archaludon another stamina boost. This... Oh, never mind.
Yeah, we've got double
We have double
priority.
priority. I was going to say, this is where it actually becomes tricky if you get another critical hit with the body press, but no, the extreme speed
Yeah.
plus the vacuum wave, more than enough to pick up the Archaludon. And credit to Chase for making it as close as he did in that game
Yeah,
after Zach
he
got
did,
to...
He did read the Terastallization.
Yeah. But everything just living on just enough HP. Very, very slim margins. The Annihilate at 10 HP after it was the +3 Electro Shot. The Dragonite on the +3 Flash Cannon. Super effective into the Fairy typing now.
multi-scale.
But through multi-scale, just surviving enough. A hallmark of Zach Weed teams. Everything is going to be bulked out.
Everything's going to live.
Everything's going to survive. And somehow he's also still faster than all of your Pokemon.
Yeah.
And they still hit harder.
Like,
I-
what's going on with this?
I think they give him some extra EVs. I think there might be a conspiracy
I
theory
think
there.
I think Rillaboom took some of its bulk EVs and bestowed it upon the rest of the team. But anyways, that was a very good testament to how even in an Incineroar meta, that loaded dice Dragonite as a backmon, as a win condition, even especially with Haze, is just so good.
Yeah.
And I think it's to the point where, like, how does Zach even, like, I don't think he needs to adjust. I think his job here is to make Chase kind of react to him so that he can start to gauge more of those speed tiers, see just about where Chase's team fits in relative to his, in terms of bulk, in terms of speed, and then if he happens to slip up again, which that game was so dominant, we'll see how he gets to react with all of the information that he gets from Chase in games 1 and 2.
Yes, I think the same leads for Zach do make a lot of sense. You know, there really isn't a whole lot on Chase's team that directly stops a Safety Goggles Annihilate next to a Rillaboom that can fake out. And that was really, I think, the turning point of the first game was, you know, those first two turns where the Rillaboom
Right.
just very freely into the Pelipper slot got to click Fake Out and then click Woodhammer, and the Pelipper couldn't do anything. There was no speed control on Chase's side. All of his Pokemon were slower. And so now we see a little bit of change in tact on both sides. It's
Okay.
Pelipper Golden Go on Chase's side, and it's Rillaboom and Ursaluna for Zach Weed.
This is a board state in which Terra Water Blood Moon is just so very good. You're not
Yeah.
going to comfortably go for the Shadow Ball into it, so your only option really is that Make It Rain. And between that and the Weather Ball that's also super effective, you can either pressure that or you can just leverage that and make Chase play reactively the way that he played in Game 1. Though if I am Chase, I think I'm going to take a more offensive approach because playing that passively is kind of what let Zac gets so much momentum. But as we see, Gholdengo goes for Protect turn 1.
Yeah, I was going to say the double protect here is pretty safe for Chase's
Yeah.
side. You bait out any terrestrializations for Zac. You get to bypass this fake out turn. Now, the cool thing about this Assault Vest Ursaluna is, of course, that move Vacuum Wave.
Right.
Because we know that the Rillaboom is faster than this Pelipper, Zac can still deny Tailwind this turn with a Vacuum Wave plus Woodhammer double up into this Pelipper. The Pelipper, of course, is a Stellar Terra type. Not going to be able to get rid of even the grass neutrality there.
Yeah, even if it were something like a Ghost Terror, which those Sash Pelipper are commonly running, there's nothing stopping this play.
Oh, and he does go for it. That looks like a critical hit again. Yeah, a lot of those here in this set already.
So crucially, we find out that Gholdengo is like the fastest thing here.
Yes, the Gholdengo does outspeed everything on Zac's side. Just couldn't safely get a Nasty Plot up that first turn because of the pressure from the Ursaluna for Zac. And parlaying that into the Pelipper knockout turn 2 as Rillaboom survives. The neutral make it rain. Yes, he will knock himself. Oh, no,
He doesn't end up
he doesn't
knocking
knock
himself out.
himself
He lived
to
on 6
recoil.
HP.
And once again, Zac Weed's Pokemon surviving at just enough HP to get another attack off. This Rillaboom,
I'm saying
maybe
Rillaboom took that game 1 and was like, nah, let me get some of that bolt back.
let me have some of it back. But the Rillaboom, maybe the most dangerous Pokemon in VGC, that and the Incineroar at low HP. You still have so many things that this Rillaboom can do. It can switch out, come back in to reset terrain and fake out pressure. You still do have Grassy Glides, although into 2 Steel types, it's probably not the most valuable move in the world.
It's very true.
But still for Zac, even though with your Rillaboom this low and not putting on a ton of offensive pressure, and with your Ursaluna slower than both Pokemon on Chase's side, the Gholdengo's at -1 special attack now. The Archaludon has very limited turns of rain left. It should just be 3 turns left to start getting its Electroshock boosts. But you're not really going to be able to Electroshock boost into an Ursaluna,
That's true.
and especially if the Ursaluna switches out.
Of course, switching into that Annihilate, perhaps hoping to catch the -1 Make It Rain just to start stacking those Rage Fists. And we'll see what happens here. Archaludon opting for the Grass Terrestrialization, likely to try and catch that Earth Power. That'll probably be indicative of the way Chase played this turn, maybe not paying as much mind to the Ursaluna and its threat. We see, going for that Make It Rain.
Yeah, going to do plenty of damage to this Annihilate, even at -1 because of the Life Orb item on that Gholdengo. And now it's just a matter of what did the Archaludon do?
I think even if it is something like that Electroshot, which it isn't, it's Dragon Pulse.
Because the Electroshot, as we saw game 1, depending on the damage roll, may have been enough at +1 to pick up this KO on the Annihilate. Now, though, things do get a little bit tricky. Yes,
For
you
sure.
do have your Dragonite that can come out, multi-scale, be pretty safe against both of these Pokemon, and you do know that at the very least your Annihilate is going to outspeed both. The assumption is that the Dragonite probably is faster for Zac's side too, although that's not, hasn't been confirmed yet.
I think one of the issues with this Dragonite set is like, now you're in this board state where you kind of don't want to attack. You have Scale Shot into Gholdengo that doesn't do much, Extreme Speed, which is it's immune to, and Scale Shot is only going to give this Archaludon +5 defense. And it's not like you want to haze anything away because that Gholdengo's sitting at -2.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dragonite in a little bit of a tricky position. And even if you were to bring the Ursaluna in there, it's still just fodder for the Archaludon.
Yeah, I think Chase did an incredible job in making the adaptation to bring Gholdengo because he realized that that backline of that Dragonite could be a bit of a challenge. And so opting for running that in the back, whereas Incineroar really didn't do him any favors game 1, gives you like much more pressure. Because, I mean, Dragonite is kind of like walled out by Gholdengo and even a little bit against that Vascular Legion.
Yes, and now Chase, taking this opportunity, gets exactly what he wants on this turn. The special attack boost from Electroshot on the Archaludon, and the Bascule Legion getting onto the field in the waning turns of rain. I believe there's just 1 turn of rain left. But you'll be able to use that with your Bascule Legion now that the Rillaboom has fainted. You can pretty freely click a Wave Crash into the Annihilate slot, and you will be able to take a KO.
Yeah,
Even if the
regardless of the
Annihilate
switch.
goes, even if the Annihilate goes to be a Water type, should still be plenty of damage. You are choice banned in the rain with this Wave Crash, or let the ground type Ursaluna switch into this Wave Crash. That both of those options work for Chase.
I mean, I think this is actually a very smart sacrifice right now, because you let the Ursaluna go down at the cost of getting an Annihilate up, which, if Zach is confident enough in his speed tiers, there's a chance that it could just outspeed and threaten Rage Fist stacks onto that Ghost type slot. But you bring up the issue again of this Archaludon, like, you can't really damage it, right? Like, at least with the Dragonite, like, it's not going to be threatening it. Let's see Scale Shot come out.
He may need all 5 to pick up this KO. There's 4. And the fifth Scale Shot is going to pick up the knockout onto this Basculegion. And with Rain going away, I think that might be better for Chase, that he gets the free switch into the Gholdengo this turn.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you kind of just have a dead slot there. You just have your Basculegion that is going to be knocked out by the faster Annihilate or Dragonite on the next turn. Whereas now, you get another special attack boost with your Electro Shot. This is going to do, even through multiscale, I'd imagine, pretty
about
sizable
half.
damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, 40% potentially. As Rain does stop here, now you're Archaludon. You got 2 special attack boosts before the Rain ended.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be in range of any attacks from this Annihilate. The Rage Fist stack should be at, is that 2? Had it been hit by, it'd been hit by 2 attacks.
Okay.
The Make It Rain and the Dragon Pulse. So
this is another situation in which Dragonite might just be kind of safe to go for something like that Haze again.
Yes, I think that's really the best thing the Dragonite can do right now, because, again, you're in this position against, the Stamina Archaludon and the Ghost and Steel type Gholdengo. Dragonite's not only not putting on any offensive pressure, but like you said earlier in the game, it doesn't want to attack.
Yeah.
It really just doesn't want to hit either of these Pokemon. So you do have Haze to get rid of the special attack boost for the Archaludon. The problem is, your only damage into both of these Pokemon is this Annihilate. And yes, it's likely faster than both, but it just is at such low health that I don't know if it's going to be able to pull out the end of this game.
Yeah. If I'm Zach, I'm going for exactly this play. There isn't much else that you can do. You kind of just want to threaten the KO on the Gholdengo, which is exactly what he gets. And it's down to a 2v1, but honestly, in this situation, if you can clear that Annihilate...
Oh!
And
wow.
he's unable to. So now going for that Rage Fist.
Yeah, can go for the Rage Fist here. No priority for this Archaludon. It is a 150, or now it's going to be a 200 base power attack, even with no attack boost.
Because a sizable amount.
Yeah, because Archaludon has no defense boost. A 200 base power Rage Fist coming out here should do plenty of damage.
Oh.
Now your Dragonite, yes, it's going to have to click, Scale Shot.
Have to click that Scale Shot.
But no recovery for the Archaludon. 5 Scale Shots may be enough to pick up this KO, and even if not...
Not to mention a crit.
Yeah, not to mention potential critical hits. Archaludon should be knocking out the Annihilate here. But it's really going to come down to how much damage the Dragonite can do. Well, it will still have another Scale Shot next turn, provided it hits. So I think that was number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Archaludon is able to pick up a KO here. I think it's going to come down to hitting a Scale Shot from Zach Weed. As no, the Flash Cannon into the Dragonite
isn't even enough.
Not
after
enough.
The haze, resetting the boost.
Yeah, Chase really reading into the Fairy Trastalization there and Annihilate potentially protecting on that turn.
Yeah.
But Zach just getting that last turn right, taking away any 50-50 opportunities, and taking a pretty clean 2-0 victory here in round 4.
Showing why he is New England's baby Grim Reaper.
That's all he does. All he does is win games.
Man.
Again, as we had mentioned, 2023 Charlotte Regional Champion, Zach Weed.
And this is no small feat. Chases multiple day 2s.
Exactly.
Incredible player. Like, what a set. And this is just round 4. We haven't even gotten to Top Cut. So, yeah, what a set. And please stay tuned for more of the incredible games that we have as we head into round 5 shortly.